Recording in progress.
I believe, yes, I believe what you say of me. I believe.
Hello, good morning. It's 10 on the dot. I hope that you are all very well this morning. Good morning. So we're going to give a bit of time to all our guests to arrive for about 5 minutes. I think we should all repost again and say it's time so that people can start joining and, join the meeting. And then we'll start very shortly. I'll continue playing music.
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Ooh, oh, you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong when I think I'm weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe the only thing that matters now is everything you think of me. In you I find my worth, in you I find my identity. Ooh, oh, you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I'm weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short. When I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. Oh, I believe. Taking all I have and now I'm laying it at your feet. You'll have every failure, God. You'll have every victory. Ooh, oh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong
Everyone. Hello, everyone. Good morning. I hope you're doing very, very well. And I hope you are excited to be in the room. Pardon me. Okay, you might not even be able to see it. So, I'm in the car. Anyway, thankfully, I don't think you can see it. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Sage Up and our first Influence 360. I'm super, super excited. It's, um it's a really great thing to be here. And I just want to do a bit of introduction of what the Sage Job is about. I want us to know that regardless of the number of people in the room, this is a worldwide, let me start from nationwide, worldwide event. Because thanks to technology, we can put this on YouTube and it gets a number of views in a couple of minutes. So it's not about the people that are in the room right now, it's about the reach that this is going to have. And I believe that it's about the impact this is going to have on those people that are here right now and those people that will be here, you know, later on. So a brief introduction on the Sage Up. Welcome to the Sage Up. This is the Sage Up. And we're a community of individuals that are committed to fostering personal and intellectual growth. And that's why we set up the Influence 360 um, through diverse models of teaching, learning, education. Our vision is to be a transformative force in education, personal development, inspiring your individuals to create meaningful and lasting change in their lives, communities, and beyond. Our mission is to leverage diverse, traditional, and innovative educational methods. I think we can say Zoom is becoming a traditional educational method because we've used it for a while and we can expect that there will be more, innovations as time goes on. But yeah, it's still pretty innovative anyway. So we're leveraging Zoom right now to teach people about rewiring for wholeness and to reform, teach, train, equip individuals with the knowledge and skills needed to positively impact society. So this is us at the Sage Hub. Our mission is um, our mission is three-pronged. We are committed to providing access to education for children that are out of school and, are from, underserved communities or, just from some form of underprivilege, right? And we're committed to providing education for them, providing access to education for them. And we do this through a number of projects, provide scholarships. And we partner with the TBC Sphere of Influence to provide a space for a free school for children. And then we're starting our education fund. We just launched that. And it's building and building. Our second approach is empowerment and impact. We organize workshops like Influence 360, seminars, events that are, wide reach to reach a number of people and to inspire them, to support personal development, to encourage, to boost productivity, just like what we're going to be doing today. And we have the community learning, which is like it's focused on people that have committed to, learning, reading books, being in a book club, reading bulletins, things like that. So that is the Sage in a nutshell. Once again, I am very excited to have everyone here, and I hope that you have such a wonderful time with us. Before I hand over to the speaker, let me stop sharing my screen. Or before I hand over to the sorry, uh-uh, this is meant to. Okay, well, okay, great. Technology almost confused me for a bit. I'd like all of us in the room to share what our expectations are as we as we begin the event. We know that this event is rewiring. Oh, sorry. Just a moment. I'm realizing that the speaker is not in for some reason. Rejoin. All right. So as I was saying, please can you share in the comment section what your expectations are from this event? We know that the event is for when we were sharing the flyers for the event, some of the things that were stated there was that the event is for people who are looking to heal, people who are if you're looking to heal, if you're ready to heal, reset your thoughts and build emotional resilience from the inside out. If you are struggling to let go of hurt, betrayal, or disappointment, and it's affecting your emotional well being, if you want to understand how unforgiveness impacts your mind, stress levels, and mental clarity, this event is for you. So I just wanted to, if you have any thoughts, any ideas, if you have any expectations of this event, if you had experiences that have defined your heart, your mind, and you know that you need a change or you want a change, and that's what you're expecting out of this event. Let's see in the comment section what you are looking forward to. I think personally for me, what I need um, rewiring for Wholeness for is that anytime I go through a very intense period of anytime I go through an intense period of busyness, I find that it's almost like my mind has just gone through this rough patch. And then instead of me, I find it difficult to be productive, after that season. And then it's like I'm trying to find myself again. And then my mind is a bit tired. I don't want to go through what I've gone through before. It's almost like as if my mind enters into self-protection, and then it allows me to not launch out or to not be as brave as I initially was when I went out the first time. So I think that that's something to address and look into and grow from. So for me, my expectation is to learn, tips to help me, fashion my mind to be ready to not self-preserve at my own detriment. So I'd like to see our expectations in the comment section. I'm looking forward to it, please. Please write your expectations in the comment section. It's very important for this session. It's very important for the speaker. It's going to help her to know how to speak with us, what we want to see, and how it should be. So really looking forward to your comments. Yes, right about now, I think that I will pass the mic over. Oh, thank you so much, Choma. Thank you, Mr. Anokpemikpo. God bless you. We're looking for more comments. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So right now, I'll pass the mic to Choma to introduce our speaker, and yes, and then from there the speaker will come on, and then we'll have a wonderful time. And at the end, we can ask questions and share some of the thoughts that are in your mind. And I think for your expectation, this meeting is just going to be for about an hour, max 10 extra minutes or 20 extra minutes, and we will be out of here. So it's going to be a short, very impactful time in this space today. Have fun. Shama, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Sister Layo. And I hope I don't have to turn on my camera.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you for taking the time to join us. We are so excited to have you here for what promises to be an insightful section. So it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today. She's a certified family systems practitioner, an inner healer dedicated to strengthening individuals, families, and communities for long-term transformation. Her mission is to help people and organizations heal emotionally, build strong relationships, and move towards wholeness. She specializes in creating solutions that empower families to thrive, breaking cycles of pain and fostering lasting healing. Today, she'll be speaking to us on rewiring for wholeness, and we are very pleased to have her share her knowledge and perspective with us. Please join me in welcoming Omotola Atikebi. You can use the emojis, the love celebration. We're so happy to have you, Omotola. And yes, thank you so much, everyone. Omotola, you have the floor now.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Chema, please make me co-host. Thank you so much. So good to be here. I like that the room is small, so it means that we can go around just talking to each other instead of me talking at you. If you can turn on your videos, I like to see you. I also enjoy reading your comments on the chat, so please use the chat function as we go. Um, I will begin with Sister Laya has done a great job with taking our expectations. Keep that in mind as we go on. Just for some perspective, I have sort of worked this to be centered around just the sense of influence that we carry as people and just how that impacts the things that we do. But we're going to do a quick icebreaker before we go on. So it's like the Who Am I edition. So basically there are tips or characteristics of certain Bible characters, and then you go to the chat and tell me who what character is, right? So character one, this person was betrayed by people who should have protected him. He stayed faithful and worked with integrity, even though he was lied against in a foreign workplace. Someone lied about me, and I was punished for something I refused to do. Integrity sent me to prison before it eventually led to my promotion. Who is that? Who is that? So you can unmute and you can use the chat. Okay, let's see. Yeah, yes, Joseph. Okay, fantastic. You're with me. Character two. I served my leader faithfully and even solved problems for him. My success made my boss insecure. My leader tried to destroy me instead of developing me. I had to run away from the workplace that once celebrated me. Who's this? Who is character two? This character too. I thought character two would be like a giveaway question. I served my leader. I helped him solve problems. My success made him insecure. My leader tried to, my leader tried to destroy me instead of developing me, and I had to run away from a workplace that once celebrated me. Who's that? Who is character two?
Think that would be Jacob. Jacob.
Uh, could be, but it's not.
And Jacob and Laban.
There's someone else. There's someone else who had sort of like the same experience. Edine. David? David.
Oh yeah, yeah, David,
Yeah,
David.
David and Saul. Okay, character three. I was known for excellence and competence in government work. My colleagues became very jealous of my reputation. They created a law
Dan-
designed
Daniel.
specifically to help me. Daniel, yes, that was easy. Okay, character four. I was tasked with rebuilding something broken in my nation. My work attracted mockery and public criticism. People tried to distract, threaten, and
Nehemiah.
sabotage. Who's that?
Nehemiah.
Yes, correct, Nehemiah. Good. Okay. Character five, I carried the responsibility of leading a massive community. People I served complained constantly. I became emotionally exhausted and overwhelmed. I had to learn that leadership cannot be carried alone. Who is that?
Moses.
Yeah, correct. Thank you. I love that we're engaging. Fantastic. Okay, yes. So Moses, I think we have two more. I spoke truth to people that did not want to hear. The very people I served mocked and rejected me. I experienced loneliness while fulfilling my assignment, and my message was right, but it wasn't welcomed. What's that?
Jeremiah.
Yes, Jeremiah. And finally, I think, character 7, my work involved traveling and building communities. I faced imprisonment, persecution, and hardship. Some of my co-workers abandoned me. My assignment required deep sacrifice. There are actually quite a number of answers that could go for character 7, so let's have it. Paul. Yes, fantastic, Paul. Good. Okay. Yes. So now we've seen just various examples of people who, in dispensing or in walking through their purpose, in navigating their different workplaces, they've experienced certain situations. And I put it in, different character blocks like this just to help us see, sometimes we're navigating certain circumstances or challenges as people, and we're thinking, oh my God, see my own that is bad. Like, is anybody else suffering as much as I am? Is anybody else as overwhelmed as I am? Is anybody else just undergoing this level of fatigue and just anybody experiencing these stressors that I am? And I did that to show us that you're not alone. There are a lot of people before now who have experienced certain things, sometimes even worse. And there are people who are still experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing. So to set the tone for today, basically, we're going to be looking at, especially in the workplace. I'll be zeroing in a lot on the workplace, but what I'll be saying also applies to different areas. So for example, the person who wants to heal from childhood trauma, it's something that will help you as well as we navigate the slides. But when listened to those biblical stories and those examples, what would you say stood out for you? Which character do you resonate with the most from the 7 characters that we shared? And what about their story resonates with you? You can unmute and you can use the chat. Who goes first? What about the stories of who your favorite character is that we spoke about appeals to you and speaks to your current situation, or maybe has spoken to you at a point or another? I'd like to take one person before we move forward. Remember, it has to be an interactive session, so you must talk. Okay, who goes next? Who goes? Who goes? I can do school teacher style and call on someone else. So please help me. For me, I like the story of, let's go back. I like the story of David. And I like the story of David because in fact, I like everybody's story because it speaks to like the different segments. So you can see like their entrepreneurial endeavors in certain people. You can see some people who served in government. You can see some people who served in just the change sector. But with David, it came in at a time when his master was deeply troubled. Remember, Saul had been battling with this evil spirit, and I see someone saying, Onokpemikpo saying, Nehemiah, please tell me why Nehemiah speaks to you. He had been battling with this evil spirit, and David came, played the whatever, you got well, killed Goliath, and then you're trying to kill him. Like, why? What's going on? But that's the reality of certain situations that people are in, where it's like, I've done nothing but good. Everything that I've done to bring this organization or this community or this state or this government to a better place. So why am I being attacked? Why am I being spoken to in this way? Or why am I facing the specific challenges that I am facing? With Nehemiah, you would see that his was a calling to rebuild, but even in trying to rebuild, it still had opposition. And you think because God sent him or because God called him to do this work, that there wouldn't have been opposition, but there was. He was mocked, he faced public criticism, and they did not just mock him and leave him alone. They didn't just criticize him and leave him alone. They actually did try to sabotage the mission. And so it wasn't just rebuilding now, it was rebuilding and also defending the vision that he had been given. And that's something that some of us have had to do. Gabonmate beautifully describes trauma as not what happens to you, but what happens inside of you as a result of what happened to you. I'll take that again. Trauma is not what happens to you. It is what happens inside you as a result of what happened to you. So we've looked at different examples, and when you look at it, things could have easily gone south. Like some of these people could have gotten into what we would call emotional breakdowns or mental breakdowns in our day and time today, or depressive episodes because they went through those things. Because I mean, some of us have gone through things like that and we know how we have felt going through it. But I like this definition of trauma because it helps us see the role that we can play in, just helping ourselves. So look at this. It is that a painful experience has happened, an internal wound has formed, and in trying to survive or adapt, we build mechanisms to help us cope with the experience that has just occurred. And I'll give a couple of examples. So think about a child, for example, who grew up. In fact, think about a child, for example, who grew up in a place where they were constantly criticized. Every time they spoke, there was somebody who would say, did you think before saying that thing? This person would grow up feeling like I need to people please to be able to fit in. And in doing that, they start thinking, I must keep everyone safe and happy. I must keep everyone happy to be safe. So they keep doing things to try to keep everybody happy to be safe at their own detriment. And that's how you see people develop, for example, people-pleasing tendencies. Perfectionism, for example, some people will come and say, oh my God, I'm such a perfectionist. And for them, it's, something to be proud of. But I constantly say to people, when people come to me and they present with, say, for example, perfectionism, that with perfectionism, you are literally battling with fear. And it's the fear of the unknown, the fear of condemnation, the fear of not being right. And so you'd rather think and overthink, over analyze just to get to a place where you're now able to do it. It's not that you're doing it because you want to do it well. It's that your perfectionism is powered by fear. So perhaps you grew up in one of those schools where if you did not score 100 over 100, or if you did not score a particular score in mathematics, you were beaten. Or if maybe your dad taught you assignments. My dad used to help us with assignments. And if you explained and explained and you did not understand it, it will knock your head. So at some point, we just stopped letting him teach us. We'll say we knew it, we understood it. Don't worry, don't teach us. So for some people, it's that they got harsh punishments for mistakes. In cultures like ours, African cultures, some people are shamed for certain things. You don't have money, you're shamed. You don't have a child, you're shamed. You cannot dress, you're shamed. You can overdress, you're shamed. So when we are in spaces where we feel constant shame, constant comparison, or punishment for mistakes, then we begin to form or internalize a belief that if we make no mistakes, then no one can attack us, then no one can offend us. And guess what happens? We build perfectionism. And so you'll find that with perfectionists, they know a lot of things. They can do a lot of things, but they won't do it because they're just held back by, okay, if I publish this book now, what will people say? If I publish this book now, how will people receive it? And so they keep the book to themselves, they keep the business ideas to themselves, they keep just all the solutions that they have for the world to themselves because they don't want to be condemned. And there are people who, for example, experience hyperdependence, and some of us might have parents who fall under this category, where it's just like, why won't you let anybody help you? Why can't you let anybody help you? Why do you have to do everything yourself? You're sick. Why are you trying to do this? It's because at some point in this person's life, they had relied on certain people to provide support for them, and perhaps the people whom they relied on for support failed them at the most critical stages or phases of their lives. And so they formed a belief that they can only rely on themselves. And there's some of us like that who feel like, oh, we're self-sufficient. Even at work, it's like, why do I have to delegate? Nobody can do it as well as I would. I will now give them, tomorrow they'll disappoint me on the day of the presentation. So you rather do it by yourself. It's actually a wound, and it's called hyper independence. And it's formed from it's powered by a belief that you cannot rely on people and you cannot get help from people. When you look at all of these adaptations that we build or develop as we go through life and experience life, sometimes you're tempted to think, it helped me. I mean, it helped me in the phase where I was. It has helped me every time I have done it myself. Things go well, I don't get to be disappointed. But if you look very well at all those things, you'll find that they are in direct opposition with the word of God. God says he puts the solitary in families, but you are in families and you've been put in a family, but you're not utilizing the reason why you've been put in a family, because it's so like you don't do life alone. With people pleasing, God doesn't want you going around pleasing people. God doesn't want you going around craving to be liked by people. So when we look at all of these internal beliefs, you just see that they are formed on false foundations. At work, for example, if you're in a workplace where you feel like, it's a humiliation ritual every single time I open my mouth to talk. Every time something happens and I speak, it's like, oh my God, I'm dismissed. This person begins to form a belief in the workspace that it's safer if I don't feel anything yet. So they just become like stones. They become stony, emotionally. Nothing is penetrating and nothing is going out. And the danger really with building walls in our hearts and in our souls is that the walls or the fences that we build to keep things out also prevent things from coming in. So if you build walls to prevent the humiliation that you experience at your workplace, chances are you would also be blind to the good things that is happening. Do you see? So it's important that as you navigate life, you are very aware of the circumstances that you're in and how the circumstances can affect you, and quickly able to now rewire yourself, which we're going to talk about in the next few slides. So for example, there's certain people who are constantly anxious. In fact, if you're sensitive or if you are aware emotionally, when you sit beside them or you talk to them, you can feel their anxiety. You can feel the sense of control that they carry. But really, if you carry a sense of control, you are literally on the edge of two worlds, because with control comes manipulation. With manipulation, like, it's just witchcraft, really. So we need to be careful with the ways, the adaptations that we form and how it helps us. So unpredictable leadership, for example, say you're in a working place. I think this week or last week, there was a trend where people were posting about a bank who had laid off about 2,000 staff. And for many people in that system who did not get laid off, that can actually trigger anxiety or control, where they now want to be in control. They never want to be those people who got fired on a cold day and got thrown out, right? So they now start thinking, oh my God, if I stay alert, if I am in control, I'll be safe. And so you see some of these people sabotaging their colleagues, snitching and all that, just because they want to be in control. They want to be the person who knows ball when things go wrong and all that. Adaptations, beliefs formed. As a child, think about this. If someone who is a child grew up in an environment where they were not heard, every time you try to speak, they spoke back at you, or they dragged you, or they did not let you talk, and you've developed defensiveness as an adaptation mechanism in that situation. And as I speak, I want us to actually begin to, self-introspect and think about the adaptation mechanisms that we have developed as we navigated life, from childhood to, school, to adulthood, to work and all that, because then it helps you see yourself and you're able to come back. So there's some people who have meaningful relationships with you in your life have told you, do you know you're defensive? Or they're like, what were we saying? Why did you take it like that? You want to pay attention to whether you're being defensive, whether that's being driven by an adaptation mechanism that you formed at a particular phase or stage in your life when when you didn't feel heard. And so you will see even in marriages where people now bring some of these adaptation mechanisms that they formed at work, in their childhoods and everything, and bring it into marriage and expect the marriage to work. It won't, because you're unintentionally sabotaging, this relationship. So if we say that trauma is not what happens to you, it is what happens in you as a result of what happens to you. Let's look at the case study of Jacob and Laban. Anybody who would like to read for me? Would like to read? Would like to read? The story of Jacob and Laban is such a funny story, because I need someone to read. So please open your Bibles. We're going to be reading the Bible, actually. I think about the story of Jacob and Laban, and it's funny sometimes, but it's also a very uncomfortable story, because we know Jacob himself wasn't really a very innocent person in terms of, how he dealt with life and how he navigated life, right? But he now landed in a situation where he met someone whose 419 was more than his own. And let's see how he navigated it. Brought up on a chemical. Are you able to read for us? He met his oga in the 419 business. So he started off working. Bro, on a chemical, are you able to read? If not, Chema, are you able to?
Yes, I can read. I'm trying to open to
Okay.
it. I
Okay,
can't use my phone.
okay. So Genesis 29, 1 to 30, Chema, you'd help with Genesis 30, 25 to 43.
All right. So Genesis 29 from 1. So
Yes, 1
Jacob
to
went
30.
on. So Jacob went on his journey and came to the land of the people of the east. And he looked and saw a well in the field, and behold, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks. A large stone was on the well's mouth. Now all the flocks would be gathered there, and they would roll the stone from the well's mouth, water the sheep, and put the stone back in its place on the well's mouth. And Jacob said to them, My brethren, where are you from? And they said, We are from Aram. Then he said to them, Do you know Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. So he said to them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. And look, his daughter Rachel is coming with the sheep. Then he said, Look, it is still high day. It is not time for the cattle to be gathered together. Water the sheep and go and feed them. But they said, We cannot until all the flocks are gathered together, and they have rolled the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. Now, while he was still speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a shepherdess. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's relative and that he was Rebekah's son. So she ran and told her father. Then it came to pass, when Laban heard the report about Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. So he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Surely you are my bone and my flesh. And he stayed with him for a month. Then Laban said to Jacob, Because you are my relative, should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me, what should your wages be? Now Laban had two daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were delicate, but Rachel was beautiful of form and appearance. Now Jacob loved Rachel, so he said, I will serve you for 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter. And Laban said, It is better that I give her to you than that I should give her to another man. Stay with me. So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed only a few days to him because of the love he had for her. Then Jacob said to Laban, Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go into her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the palace and made a feast. Now it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to Jacob, and he went into her. And Laban gave his maid Zilpah to his daughter Leah as a maid. So it came to pass in the morning that, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, What is this you have done to me? Was it not for Rachel that I served you? Why then have you deceived me? And Laban said, It must not be done so in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill our week, and we will give you this one also for the service which you will serve with me still another 7 years. Then Jacob did so and fulfilled a week. So he gave him his daughter Rachel as wife also. And Laban gave his maid Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as a maid. Then Jacob also went into Rachel, and he also loved Rachel more than Leah. And he served with Laban still another 7 years.
Thank
That's
you.
30.
If you look at
Welcome,
that,
man.
if you look at that story, you'd see just so Jacob was in transition, as we would call it in our day and time, and he was looking to go into a new place and just settle and clear his head from all the drama that had happened. And it's in this new place, he met with someone who was supposed to be like his uncle. And the person is like, You can't serve me for nothing. Come, tell me what you want. He told him. But isn't it interesting that Laban went against the terms of the contract? And as you go, you would actually see why, Laban played a fast one on Jacob. But Shema, are you at chapter 30?
Yes, I am.
25 to 43.
Okay, Genesis 30, 25 to 43. And it came to pass when Rachel had borne Joseph, that Jacob said to Laban, Send me away that I may go to my own place and to my country. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you, and let me go. For you know my service which I have done to you for you. And Laban said to him, Please stay, if I have found favor in your eyes, for I have learned my experience that the Lord has blessed me for your sake. Then he said, Name me your wages, and I will give it. So Jacob said to him, You know how I have served you and how your livestock has been with me. For what you had before I came was little, and it has increased to a great amount. The Lord has blessed you since my coming, and now when shall I also provide for my own house? So he said, What shall I give you? And Jacob said, You shall not give me anything. If you will do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep your flocks. Let me pass through all your flock today, removing from there removing from there all the speckled and spotted sheep, and all the brown ones among the lambs, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and these shall be my wages. So my righteousness will answer for me in time to come, when the subject of my wages come before you. Everyone that is not speckled and spotted amongst the goats and brown among the lambs will be considered stolen if it is with me. And Laban said, Oh, that is, oh, that it were according to your word. So he removed that day the male goats that were speckled and spotted, all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, everyone that had one, everyone that had some white in it, and all the brown ones among the lambs, and gave them into the hands of his sons. Then he put 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. Now Jacob took for himself rods of green poplar and of the almond and chestnut trees, peeled white strips in them, and exposed the white which was in the rods. And the rods which he had peeled he set before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs where the flocks came to drink, so that they should conceive when they come to drink. So the flocks conceived before the rods, and the flocks brought forth streaked, speckled, and spotted. Then Jacob separated the lambs and made the flocks face towards the streaked, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. But he put his own flocks by themselves and did not put them with Laban's flocks. And it came to pass, whenever the stronger livestock concealed, that Jacob placed the rods before the eyes of the livestock in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the flocks were feeble, he did not put them in. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. Thus the man became exceedingly prosperous, and had large flocks, female and male servants, and camels and donkeys.
Amen. Thank you. So, I told you I was going to tell you why. So, imagine this man, Laban, saw the first 7 years of Jacob's service and saw how his livestock was thriving. And he thought, if I release this boy now, what will happen? So he says, okay, let me play a fast one on him, give him my first daughter, and then he'll serve another 7 years. Anyways, Jacob does this 14 years business, gives birth to all his children, and then decides it's time to go. But Laban came and said, If I have found favor in your eyes, please stay, for I have learned that God has blessed me because of you. And so from this, you can see it's not as if Jacob did anything wrong, right? But life still came at him. And I know that many times we talk about the way that Jacob, with just divine revelation, was able to build the things that he built in Laban's house. But if you go to chapter 31 and read from verse 5, where he was telling his wives, you know what, it's time to move. I have served your father faithfully. I've worked with all of my might and with all of my strength. In fact, he told them in verse 7, he says, Your father has cheated me by changing my wages 10 times. So think about in our Nigerian society where people go to Nwa boy, and you go and do your Nwa boy with your and you have an agreement, but 10 times your guy changes the agreement. It can be tiring. It is actually very, very, it can be traumatic, or it can trigger trauma in you. But as you go on, you see that in verse 10, Jacob says, In breeding season, I once had a dream in which I looked up and saw that the male goats mating with the flock were streaked, speckled, or spotted. Verse 11, it says, Then the angel of God said to me in the dream, Jacob, I answered, here I am. And he said, look up and see that all the male goats are mating with the flock. All the male goats mating with the flock are streaked, speckled, or spotted. For I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. So what happened there was an exchange of divine intelligence. But I'll tell you this, if Jacob had not been in a certain place emotionally and mentally, he would have been unable to receive the divine wisdom that he got in that, in that dream. Because when trauma happens, it seeks to block you from your true self, from your spirit. There's such a disconnection that happens, your voice is just taken away. And you heard Sister Laya talk about, when she just experiences, really stressful situations, she's like, oh my God, I really just want to self-preserve. And that's that situation trying to steal your voice. It's that situation trying to steal your story. It's that situation trying to cause a disconnect between yourself and your body, or yourself and your spirit. So if you ever find yourself in that place, and we're going to talk about how then to rewire, what it is after, what the devil is after is that separation between you and God, separation between you and your body, separation between you and your true self. And when you hit that state of separation, it will be very difficult to get God's wisdom for how to navigate that difficult time. The reason why Jacob was able to come out of his father-in-law's home strong and with all the things he had was because he did not let the negative circumstances around the situation disconnect him from his spiritual experiences. And that's why he could have that dream. And that's why God could speak to him and the angel could say, look up, see the male goats mating and look at the science behind this. And that's why I was able to recreate it going forward. But for some of us, when we go through trying times, traumatic situations, we experience such a disconnect that our spirit is not able to communicate with us. We're not able to understand what's going on even in our bodies. We're disconnecting ourselves from people and cutting ourselves up from people, not wanting to speak to people, just isolating yourself. That's the devil putting you in the place where he wants you to be. Like Jacob, you must choose to, I never thought the day would come where I'll use Jacob as an example for something to do, but really, like Jacob, you must choose to not let the circumstances that you're in define how you respond to the circumstance. Think about Joseph. If Joseph had allowed the circumstance define the way that he responded, then he would not have interpreted the dream of those guys in the prison. And even if he had interpreted the dream of those guys in the prison, let's say he said, okay, let me even give this one a chance. At least they're not the oga that offended me. And then he interpreted the dream. And then they released the butler, and it took, was it the butler they released? I think. And it took years and years later for the butler to even remember him. If you were some of us, when they came back and said, Oga has a dream, we'd be like, which Oga? The one that did this? The one that did not hear me? The one that falsely accused me? The one that put me in prison? He could have missed his breakthrough. Even think about, the vision that God had given him as a child of the sun, the moon, and the stars bowing before him. If he did not forgive his brothers, he would not have gotten, the fulfillment of that prophetic word over his life. So sometimes we hold on to things and we feel like, I'm holding on to this because I've been hurt. Yes, you've been hurt. But what's that thing stealing from you? What's it taking away from you? Right? Okay, back to the slide. So look at this. It says, put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life, and be renewed in the spirit of your minds. Put on the new self created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness. The truth is, no one can put it off for you. No one can put it off for you. No one put it off for Daniel. No one put it off for Jacob. No one put it off. You have to come to a personal place where you're able to say, this is what I want to do, and this is how I want to navigate it. Look at this image on the screen. Typically, as human beings, we have something called the neural pathways. And the neural pathways basically are patterns or pathways formed as we go through life. So think about like a bushy area. When people walk along it for long enough, a pathway is formed. And that pathway stays open as long as it is serviced. If they leave that bushy pathway for a while and don't service it, guess what? It would stop being a pathway. So the thing really with life also is, as experiences happened, and we, again, back to, what we're saying about adaptations and beliefs formed, and we begin to form a memory loop, just thinking again and again about the things that have happened and the way that we want to believe, or the way that we interpret the things that have happened. We form a memory loop that is called neural pathways. And so for neural pathways, when you think about it long enough, when it is fully formed, it becomes a subconscious pattern of thinking. So for the person who thinks, oh, I cannot be helped by people, I'd rather just do my thing myself, it has become such a subconscious pattern of thinking. For someone who has built defensiveness as an adaptation mechanism, it's become such a defined pathway of thinking that it requires intentional work to come out of it. And I think it's Socrates that says an unexamined life is not worth living. And so if you want to, I try to put this in an acronym, in an acronym, so it just helps us. If you're thinking about rewiring wholeness, think about the word whole. W for wake up. You've got to be aware. And that's why I took the pain and took the time to just share about the different experiences that people have and the way that those experiences can rub off, because some of us don't even know. We don't know how we're showing up in our relationships or in our friendships or in, situations around us. So we're just navigating life blindly. If you cannot see, you cannot heal. So that awareness is so key. Awareness that you show up in life as someone who is defensive, awareness that you show up as a people pleaser, awareness that you're in a constant loop of control because you're constantly overthinking, awareness that stress throws you off, awareness that you can be better. When you arrive at this stage of awareness, then you can now begin to think about how to heal the wound. And that's the process of putting off, because you can't put off what you don't know exists. Then you're able to put off some of these things, override the old scripts. Remember what I said about neural pathways forming. The neural pathways are formed belief systems that you've now come to believe. To wipe off the existing pathway, you've got to create new neural pathways. And you know how they say, oh, if you do something for 21 days, habits are formed. In this case, you might have to run the new script for longer, because think maybe you're 30 years old, you run on the old script for 29 or 30 years of your life. 21 days of rewiring would not change that. It's got to be constant. It's got to be you refreshing your mind. And we talk a lot about confessions in our church and, just the way that we speak and all that. But you can, if there's anything that you're leaving this session with, I want you to know that you can rewrite the old scripts and you can rewrite new ones. Learn new patterns, embody wholeness. One of my favorite Bible passages, he heals the brokenhearted and he binds up their wounds. God is interested in your wholeness. So let's look at this. I want you don't have to write it down. Think about a situation where you felt unfairly treated, where you felt treated unfairly. And I know that for some of us, we already had situations pop in our minds as I talk through the slides. Then think about the thought that kept ringing in your mind based off of that experience. For some of us, it's that, oh my God, I'm not worthy, or I'm not good enough, or I am not. Think about it. And think about what belief or what releasing that hurt might look like. What will change in your life if you truly let this go? What would change in your life if you stopped seeing yourself as small because of something someone said to you when you were 10? What would change in your life if you set aside the garment, or you put off the garment of perfectionism and chose excellence instead? What would change in your life if you put off the garment of people pleasing and put on something different? I know you have your answer. Now let's go. God is a redeemer. He never uproots without replanting. And so remember, I was talking about closing the existing neural pathways and just creating new ones. At the core of emotional wounds are lies that we've come to be. So just lead us through some prayers here, and then I'll ask that you pray and listen and just take notes of what you hear. So just say after me, Jesus, is there any lie I am believing about myself? Jesus, is there any lie I am believing about myself at this moment? Jesus should be speaking to you now and telling you what the specific lie that you're believing about yourself is. Jesus, what is the lie that I am believing about myself? Okay, now that you have the lie, Jesus, who do I need to forgive for this lie that I believe? Jesus, who do I need to forgive for this lie that I believe? Who do I need to forgive for this lie that I believe? You got the name? I choose to forgive XXX for doing XXX and for making me feel XXX. I choose to forgive Sade for talking down at me, for never believing me, for underestimating my value. So you're choosing to forgive that person for what they've done and for the damage that their actions or inactions have caused. If you're with me, just use the thumbs up button or the like button so I know that you're here. And then ask Jesus, Jesus, I renounce the lie that you will not see my value like Shade. I renounce the lie, Jesus, that you will not believe in me. I renounce the lie that you do not like me. I renounce the lie that I have to be a kind of way to fit into your circle of friendship, and ask Jesus to give you strength. If there's anyone who you're like, oh, I didn't get any lie, I didn't get anybody to forgive, now ask Jesus. Just tell Jesus to tell you something about yourself he would like you to remember, and then share with us in the chat. You don't have to share if you don't want to though. Jesus, tell me something about myself you would like me to remember as I navigate life. Tell me something about myself that you would like me to remember as I navigate life. How are we doing? Anybody got anything? Did anybody get anything? How is Jesus choosing to remind you of his love for you? What did Jesus say to you? Are we all good? Yes. So constantly as Jesus, God, Holy Spirit just walks us through life and through life circumstances and difficult situations, we're being pruned, but we're being pruned for fruitfulness, regardless of how difficult the circumstances. So look at all the case studies: Jacob, Joseph, David, Nehemiah. They were being pruned, but they were being pruned for fruitfulness. So again, just look at the bigger picture. Finally, identity is who we experience ourselves to be, the I each of us carries within. And this is by David Bina in the book, The Gift of Being Yourself. I find this profound, and this is how I'll be ending this teaching. Because, again, life might have attempted to define you. Things might have attempted to define you. But until you accept the definition that has been provided by people, life, or situations, it is not your identity. So identity is who you experience yourself to be and the I that you carry within yourself. So my question to you is, what is the I that you carry? What is the identity that you carry? How do you experience yourself? If your response to that is not very positive, because I know that there are people who think about themselves and they see nothing good, right? If the response to that is not positive, then you need to go back again to Jesus, to Holy Spirit, and just ask them, how would they like you to see yourself? A good way is to go back to the Bible and just even begin to look at the characteristics of God. Who is God and who am I? Who is God and who am I? God is good, I am good. God is a perfect creator, really. So I am perfectly and wonderfully made. So you got to now begin to look at who God is and how that translates to who you are. For some of us who struggle with imposter syndrome, it's also a good way to, speak to your mind, to help yourself see yourself in a light that is beneficial for you. Who am I? Who is God? And who am I by the reason of whom God is? Okay, thank you. That'll be all from me. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them. Chioma? Thank you, everybody, for being very active participants. God bless you. You're muted, Chioma.
So sorry about that. Can we please appreciate Omotola? This was quite an insightful section. Please clap, celebrate, just use the emojis. I can't even express how I feel right now learning all these things. I mean, it was quite insightful. Thank you so much, Omotola, for sharing this knowledge and your perspective with us on this topic. We truly appreciate you. So if you have questions, because we'll be closing a few minutes from now. If you have questions, I'm sure you can, Omotola, we can reach out to you, yeah?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so if you have questions around this session, you can reach out to Omotola or you can reach out to any member of the Sage Hub and would forward it to her. And of course, you get responses from her. Thank you, everyone that joined. I believe this was quite an insightful section. I believe we enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to having each and every one of you with us in our future events. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and do have a wonderful day.